Former Nigerian President Olusegun Obasanjo has condemned the Lagos-Calabar Highway project by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's government. According to the ex-president, the project would cost 15.6 trillion naira, 16.5 trillion naira when completed, is wasteful and corrupt. He also describes the building of the vice president's official residence at 31 billion naira as wasteful. The Nigerian ex-leader disclosed this in Chapter 6 of his new book, Nigeria Past and Future, noting that Nigerian leaders come to power mainly to steal and enrich themselves. He stated everything is said to be transactional, and the slogan is, "It is my turn to chop." Typical examples of waste, corruption, and misplaced priorities are the murky Lagos-Calabar Coastal Road, on which the president had turned a deaf ear to protest, and the vice president's official residence built at a cost of 21 billion naira in the time of economic hardship to showcase the administration hitting the ground running and to show the importance of the office of the vice president. What small minds. Meanwhile, Tinubu presidential spokesperson Bayo Onanuga is yet to comment on the latest criticism against his principal, Bayo Obasanjo. Well, Bayo Onanuga has actually come to make a statement on this from the issue, from this criticism coming from former president of the country. If I may look at this, the issue of the census that the president declined on 942 billion naira that was proposed by the National Population Census in order to conduct, and he said that the money was too much and he proposed the use of youth corpus. There's been lots of criticism over it that they're yet to receive 77,000 naira and you want to still use them for a particular reason. And if we have about 15.5 trillion naira, wouldn't that be, it's a road construction, if you may ask me, and it's necessary. That's what we're asking for: infrastructure, good roads, in order to reduce the rate of accidents. But do you agree with Olusegun Obasanjo that this project that is on the way by the president is a misplaced priority?
Well, this is a very complicated one. But meanwhile, I would have to say that Obasanjo acknowledged that, himself inclusive, when you say Nigerian leaders come with a corrupt mind and they are only there for themselves, to enrich themselves, it means that he is inclusive. Because he said Nigerian leaders. Now, Obasanjo has a problem with that amount, 15-point-something trillion naira. To him, that amount is much, and he is not seeing it that it is going to be judiciously utilized. He is seeing it that it's a means of diverting funds by the president for his own personal aggrandizement, for his own personal interest, not for the interest of Nigerians. That is the summary of what Obasanjo is saying. Okay, that comes to what we have been saying, that I mentioned it here sometime in this studio, that Nigerians, most Nigerians don't believe in our leaders because they are seeing the leaders as being selfish, not telling them the truth. They don't have the interests of the masses at heart. They are only there for their own self, their family, their friends, their associates. This is what Obasanjo is reiterating.
Okay, does that mean that...
but where I want to...
I want to get something right here, please, before you continue. Does that mean, as the former president of the country at the time, he was also part of the system that he's criticizing over?
Of course, that's what I've just said it here, that what he had, the indictment, he also is inclusive in that indictment. he indicted himself because when he said Nigerian leaders, how much was Obasanjo having before he became the president? And how rich is he now? I could recollect that people contributed money, including these Ojos Okalo. They were the financiers. Late Iwanyanwa and the other individuals I can't remember now. Were the financiers of PDP then. Heavy financiers, people that brought the highest money. Obasanjo just came out from prison. He said he was not having a dime. They told him, Oga, relax. We'll push this thing. And people contributed money then, heavily, to fund. And that was why the likes of Ojos Okalo fell out with him, because Ojos was among the highest donors then. And the way he thought he would have benefited, perhaps it was not given to him. So, you know, at the time he fell out with Obasanjo. So what am I trying to say is that himself that is saying this thing, how wealthy was he before he became the president in 1999? And now, let us compare that note. How did he suddenly acquire this wealth? He also enriched himself in one corrupt way or the other. I read one book, The Kaduna Mafia. And that book quoted, he said, behind every great wealth, there is a crime. You know, that book it's unfortunate I lost that book. I don't know, somebody stole it from my library. That book traced how most Nigerian millionaires and billionaires made their money corruptly. And they come to that conclusion that behind every great wealth, there is a crime. Most of these people, ordinarily, even most of the governors, if they depend on, why are they killing themselves? Look at what is happening in Rivers State today. Do you think it is because of you and I, because of our interest, that they are fighting to kill themselves? Because of our interest, that they are quarreling up and down? It is not. Adam Smith said it. It is not by the benevolence of the baker that we eat bread, but because of his selfish interest and motive. So, what are we trying to say? These people don't have our interest at heart. They are only going there because they want to amass wealth. Like Obasanjo jokingly said, it's my time to chop. That is the only thing they know. It's my time. It's my turn to gather as much wealth as I can.
So if I may ask a question that I'm sure a lot of Nigerians have been asking, you know, subsequently over the issue of the Nigerian state. At what time do we get it right? Since everyone that wants to get into office wants to come and chop.
Yeah,
like it's my time to chop, like the slogan Obasanjo stated. You know, at what time do we get it right that a selfless person would want to come into power for the benefit of Nigerians?
It is only when there is rule of law, separation of power, checks and balances. That is when you get it right. As long as these priorities are not given its rightful place in our constitution, in our governance system, we are not going to get it right. Yeah, you can imagine executive trying to lord over the legislature, the judiciary. What is happening today? The president controls every aspect, every facet of the arms of government. He is in charge of the legislature. I mean, our president, Tinubu, is in charge. He is also in charge of course, I don't want to digress out of what we have. I've said it here in this studio. Anyhow, the interest of the government even determines how judiciary will dance. But it's not what I'll begin to explain now. We have seen it here in this country. So there should be that checks and balances. There should be that rule of law. We should allow rule of law, the Constitution, to prevail. Of course, the proponents of these doctrines stated it that when you don't allow rule of law, you don't allow the principle of separation of powers to, you bring anarchy, you bring confusion, threats. You allow it to thrive. So, but when you allow all these things to prevail, everybody will be happy. There will be no issue of intimidation by one arm of the government against the other.